Alright, back on the pancake holster here. Been one of those days. You ever have those days? Today's been one of them. Going to get the stiffeners glued on here. Been debating if maybe I should just put a little piece of some of that plastic bag stiffener in here just to give it a little more rigidity. I've never had a problem with it. I don't know why I should start now. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. So I've already scratched it up, and I got marks here where I'm going to start gluing all the way up to the edge. I know it's dark down here. Hopefully you see more than what I'm seeing in the viewfinder here. So we'll set that aside to dry. This is all ready to go. I'm going to take a couple of needles and I'm going to stick them in here. So I have something to go by. As I'm trying to lay everything in. And there's always a couple of holes that I pick that are very distinct. Now this one here is the top hole in that corner. That one's that corner. This one here down in the bottom corner. And when you're going to press these down, your needles should remain perpendicular. If they're not, you're not pushing straight down. Now if I just take and have a needle, just push it through a couple of random holes here. Kind of tells me if I'm lined up or not. If they slide through easy, I know I'm lined up. And that's all ready to stitch down. Alright, everybody says the rule of thumb is 4 times the distance that you're going to sew. I'm going to tell you it's more than that. For this simple reason, I am using 8 to 9 ounce leather, so it's kind of thick. So I'm going to use about 6 times. My reasoning behind that is I don't like to run short. No, it won't be quite 6 because here's 4 times and we're probably a little better than 5. but I don't want to run short. There's nothing worse than having to splice in the middle of a run. And I don't like doing it. It's not, if I've got a really long distance to stitch, that's one thing. You know, I don't even do it on a belt. I can choke up on my thread a little bit, and that works fine. Come on. That'll work every time. It cuts down on the length that you wind up pulling through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to even up. I'm going to make sure that the loop part is a little longer, and then I'm just going to even up my threads. And along the way I'll just pay out a little extra when I need it. Pretty simple. Oh, for Pete's sake. I am having just one of those days today. So I'm going to pick a spot on this straight run, and that's where I'm going to down towards the bottom, a couple holes up, and that's where I'm going to start, and that's where I'm going to end. I always go through the top first. I'm going to go up and around. You certainly don't have to. Go whatever direction you want. My holes are slanted this way, so I'm pulling my first thread will pull back towards me. The next one will go away. The first couple might be a little stiff. Get my scissors out of the way. I'm not pulling super hard. Don't need to pull super tight. And I'm pulling kind of up away from the leather. If you pull down across your leather, you're going to leave marks by your stitch holes and kind of stretch them out. You don't want to do that either. It just looks ugly. But I'm not going to torture you while I'm doing all this stitching, because I'm going to move right through these. I will probably, when I get to the end of one of them, I'll stop. I'll show you how I finish it off, and that'll be about it. I tend not to use my stitching pony when I'm doing holsters. It just seems to be, I don't know, habit forming, I guess. It doesn't sound, like a lot of fun, but just kind of the way I've always done them. One of those things. So, cut you back on when I get around to it. The last stitch on the back stiffener. So, I'm going to go ahead and plug her through. And I always try to pick a spot to end where it's going to take the least amount of abuse. And this is going to be right close to the edge here, because this is the long seam along the front. So I'm just going to, that was my last stitch, so I'm going to go at least 2 more past it. And it's going to be really, really tight here, because this is a 1.2 millimeter thread. And these smaller holes, I think it punches like a 2 millimeter hole. I'd have to measure, and I'm not going to do that right now because it's getting close to dinner time. And these last couple of stitches, I'm going to pull these pretty good. So that's 2 full stitches. Now this is going to be like starting a 3rd stitch, but it's really just going to be half a stitch. And there we go. So now I'm just going to clip it off. And I clip it off as close as this scissors will go, which leaves me about, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 hanging up. Not a lot, just enough to kind of singe that down a little and flatten her down good. And it just leaves it nice and flattened out. Then we go along. I like that it's not bouncing the camera. There we go. And I think even without a stiffener, extra stiffener in there, I think we'll be alright. I hope so. Once we're wet formed and stuff, I think that'll stiffen up quite a bit once it gets wet. So, if not, the next time, I'll know better and I'll put something in there to stiffen it. So now it's just a matter of getting some finish sanding done up here. And I'll go as far as my stitch lines here. On the inside, I'll need to go and bevel just from where that stitch line is going to be on the inside. But first I need to, get everything matched up nice. So, to do that, I'm going to probably clip all this together. Even though I matched it up once, it's been handled, it's been dyed. Everything's been kind of banged around a bit. I will go ahead and run some needles through some holes to line everything up. Just because I can. And that way, I'll know exactly where everything lines up. And then I'll just make some finishing. Actually, this doesn't really need much. We're in pretty good shape here. I like that. I like that a So I just have to, you know, a little bit here and there. We'll get her done. So, with that being said, y'all stay safe. God bless. We'll catch you in the next one.